Well, we're here with Cheryl Wilson, and I've become friends with Cheryl for the last, I've known Cheryl for a long time, but we've become really close for over a year now, 1 year and 3 months. And it's because of her daughter that I was talking to her daughter, and she was very concerned about her mother and her health because she knows that she suffered greatly. So we made an appointment. Cheryl came over, visited with me, and we hit it off. And from that moment forward, we've had a really wonderful experience together. And I want her to tell her story today because we want to help anyone out there that may be struggling with some of the things that she struggled with for many years. So, Cheryl, it's so good to be together today and to be able to do this. And we want to kind of walk through your journey. And so I want you to tell whoever's watching this interview, what is it like to have lived the way that you have lived, and tell us how long, some symptoms that you had. Just give us a little bit of background on when a lot of health issues started to show themselves.
Oh, for years it seems like I was always trying to be healthy and what I knew was healthy. I would try to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I always ate meat, not a lot, but I did. And probably maybe 15, 16 years ago, I just started getting sick. And then 12 years ago, I was so sick. It was horrible. I was just always just diarrhea. And I found out through trial and error and going to this doctor and that, and I was tested and I had celiac. I was faithful the minute they said that I had celiac, that I went off of all gluten. I mean, I read everything. I was just so desperate to feel good. And I stayed that way, but I never got any better. Maybe there was some times I felt a little bit better, but as a whole, I never did. And I got to the place where I had to have some answers of why I felt so rotten, because I was doing all I was supposed to do. I was on all kinds of medication, and none of it was doing any good. And I owe so much, first to my daughter, because she was so loving, so kind, so, concerned about my health. And she was talking to Angie, and every once in a while she would drop a few hints about going to see Angie. And I just didn't know. And so finally, the two of us went, and when we met Angie, whatever she said, it was just like, it was my answer. I just felt so engulfed in this love and concern and all that she was expressing to me. And so what she said, she was talking about going on carnivore of all meat. And whatever she said, Julie and I went out minutes afterwards and we bought meat, we bought cheese, we bought dairy products of all kinds, and that was the beginning of my journey. And I can't say that it was, smooth, because I am 74 years old, and I've had a lot of things wrong with my body, and so the healing didn't start, right away. But I did start feeling really good right away. I think one of the main things is my mind got so clear, and I could think well, and I could express myself, where I was just always floundering. And if there's a group of people, I would just sit quietly and not say anything at all, because there was a fog over my mind. And so slowly, my intestines did start doing better, but not completely. But in the meantime, some of the things that started happening was my nails got very, very strong from eating almost straight meat. Now I'm down to almost straight meat of steak and water, and that's just about it. But there was a lot of things that started healing in my body. I wasn't cold all winter. Now that was a miracle, because I was always cold, always. But that was such a good feeling. And I knew the inflammation in my body was gone. And I have rheumatoid arthritis. And I was on all kinds of medication for it. But anyway, while I was on it, this finger went totally crooked. And I went to another doctor and he said, well, why are you on it if this is happening to you? And I went, he's right. So I went off of all medication when I went on, all meat. And ever since, none of the rest of my fingers have been affected, and this is a year and 3 months. This is not straightened. I don't know that it ever will, but that's okay. Because I have very little pain anymore, and I have lots of pain. And so that's rheumatoid arthritis that I've pretty much, overcome. Not completely, but pretty close. And I have osteoporosis, and I think that I will be tested real soon for that. But all my blood work, I've gone 3 different times, and the blood work has been perfect. And my doctor loves it, and she doesn't really understand it, but she's totally backed me up.
Wow.
That's a miracle, I know. It really is. To get a doctor that
It really is.
stands behind me. But to be celiac, it was really, really hard because in the beginning I just didn't know how to give up all gluten, and you just found gluten in everything, and you just had to really, really, be careful about that. And some of the other things that have been healed is I would have sores all over my body this big, and they would be there a year or 2, 3, and most of them didn't go away until I went on meat. That's fantastic.
That's fantastic.
Change. Yeah, because they itched and they would scab over. And my hair, every part of my head, my scalp, was like a 1/4 inch of just scabs and crusty stuff. It was horrible. And I washed my hair all the time. But I went on the meat and that cleared up. There's just so many things that have, happened to me. I had urinary tract infection all the time. And I had yeast infection. I've not had one bout, none whatsoever since I've been on all this. And I don't know, do you want to ask me questions?
You've covered so much. The bottom line is your inflammation went away.
Absolutely.
And when we have inflammation starting in our gut, it affects our brain, it affects our mood, it affects our joints. Those toxins make you hurt all over. And then we don't know anything else to do but to go and try to get a fix, which is usually a Band-Aid. So what I want you to tell people is, so you went through this for 12 years with this celiac. So will you tell us, what is a day in your life before you started this? What was a day like going to the store or whatever you would do on a daily basis?
It wasn't pleasant at all because I had diarrhea all day long and I never knew when it was going to hit. And so I would have to go from one spot to another knowing there was going to be a gas station or a grocery store that I could run in and go to the bathroom. And I have had a couple of incidents that were so embarrassing. And so it wasn't fun at all, but it was mostly my intestines. And when I went to the doctor, when they didn't know quite yet it was celiac, I told him, I hurt everywhere. I am sick. I am violently sick all over. I can't explain it. I just feel really, really wrong. And then that's when they went ahead and tested me. But I'll never forget the first time I knew that I couldn't have any of the gluten anymore, and I went in the grocery store and I walked up and down the aisles just crying because I knew I would never again be able to eat gluten. But nowadays they have so much that has the gluten taken out, and so it makes it easier. But it's not an easy way to go at all. And I continued having this, and then when I went on, should I go on with the meat? When I went on the meat, there was a time when it cleared up somewhat. And then it started getting really, really bad. You got to remember that I am older. I am 74. And I knew that there had to be a lot more healing going on in my body. But it did come back pretty awful severe. And So I went to Angie again. I told her, I need help. I need to know what to do to help with this healing. And so she put me on a protocol of taking just these drops in water. And I did this for quite a long time, probably double what everybody else did, because I couldn't even take hardly one drop. I was so affected. And I found out later that when you're affected like that, something really severe could be going on in your body, which we don't know. But through this, it wasn't easy, but it was something I stuck with and I would not give up. And so when I went off of it, that's when I knew healing had taken place, because I no longer had the diarrhea. I just felt good. So maybe Angie could explain a little bit what she did for me there.
Well, what we do on this protocol is it is simply purified water that is liquid oxygen. And when you go for a period of time with this force of oxygen flooding through your system, the pathogen or whatever is in your tissues as a toxin, it has to leave. And sometimes that process, it is a process, and you have to work with it. You have to gradually move with it. But as those toxins are leaving your body, you're getting relief. So it is a healing process, and you have to trust the process. So along with the not eating any carbohydrates, no sugars, no starches, only focusing on, there's so much nutrition that you get out of meat. I'm just going to name a few. Selenium is the highest in red meat. Zinc is the highest in red meat. Vitamin B12 is the number one source, is meat, along with the whole panel of the micronutrients, like the same thing that you would look at on a can of protein. But a lot of people, I used to turn to cans of protein to make sure I was getting all that nutrition that was on the back of the panel there, the nutrition panel. They're just mimicking meat, and you could never mimic the real thing. And so what you were getting out of your nutrition and out of your meat was all of that nutrition. I mean, I can't even name all of that. It's so much that comes in meat, your amino acids, your minerals. I mean, and a lot of us are walking around very deficient in nutrition. But it's so simple, it's so basic. And so what you were doing was literally filling your body with so much nutrition that had been depleted from going to the bathroom.
Yes.
In these episodes for 12 years. And then the protocols of the liquid oxygen that she was taking on how long? You went more than normal. I believe you went for more than 6 weeks.
Right. Well, pretty much at 6 weeks. It was supposed to be three weeks, but I went 6.
Right, because we knew there was still more things to work on. And then that day, whenever we felt like, I think you're at your limit, I think that your body, we're seeing results now. And that day, whenever you felt so much relief, and you could feel that your body had pretty much healed, although you're going to go back and get tests.
Oh, yes. Probably a week or two.
And your doctors are saying, keep going.
Oh, absolutely.
And I admire doctors that think like that, that they know everything you've tried.
Well, she knew how sick I was.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And all the diarrhea.
And all the medications that you used to be on.
She's tickled. I'm off of all of them.
So, this is a new Cheryl, because when I saw Cheryl a year and 3 months ago, she was tired, she was weak. Her skin, I could say, was dehydrated. She did electrolytes in the beginning, and then she didn't need to do that anymore. But I don't know, she's just vibrant now. She's full of life. She glows. And her skin is plump. I can tell she's hydrated. Her nutrition is staying in her body. It's feeding her now. It's just beautiful. And then, whenever your life is changed, you can't help but to share it with people. And you just share your story, and if people want to try it, give it a try, that's completely up to them. But you cannot deny what has happened in your body. I mean, it's just beautiful to see. So your quality of life now versus when you would go out for like a shopping trip. Tell us about what it was.
I was always so weak and so tired that if we'd go shopping, I'd go into one store and I would just tell my daughter, that's it, I can't do it anymore, just one store. And some days I would just have to go to bed. I was so tired. And now I can't say I can go over the top of energy, but I have energy all day. And the other day, of course, now with things lifting over in Indiana, I went to Myers, I went to Aldi's, I went to the dollar store, and I went to Mustard Seed. I probably broke all the rules, but I had to get out. And I had all kinds of energy to go home. I put everything back away.
That's awesome. Your life now is such a reflection of what many lives can be. And so you shared this with a friend.
Sure did.
Tell us about what he had experienced in his life and where he is right now.
My son's father-in-law has been a vegetarian for over 20 years, and he hates meat. He's always said, I hate meat. And I was sharing with him particularly about my arthritis, because he has it really bad. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He was in Vietnam and he got shot up, and he laid in the rice paddies dead. They thought he was dead. And they came and checked and they found he was alive. They had to fly him out to France. He was full of shrapnel. So his body is just, it's really being riddled with all kinds of pain and all that. But he would always check, okay, how's your arthritis? And I would tell him that it was getting better and better. He followed me when I was on the medication. He wasn't going to do that. He was against medicine. And so one day he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, I can't do anything for you. He walked out and went to Ponderosa and ate a steak. I don't think he's had a steak, I don't even know if he ever had before.
Wow.
But that started it. He started researching and talking to me a little bit more. And it was just the other day that I talked to him, and he just said, he couldn't sleep for maybe a couple hours because of all the pain in his body. He said, I sleep like for 8 or 9 hours, so solid, I feel like it's almost a sin.
Oh my goodness.
It's such a wonderful sleep. And he said, my energy is great. And so the other day he said about, meat's so boring. I said, go ahead and go eat some vegetables and fruit. No, never. I would not. I cannot give this up because the energy is so wonderful.
Wow.
And the pain, he still has his arthritis. He still has a lot of pain. But I would say it's at least 50%, if not more. And so it's a real testimony to eating meat that this guy has done it. He was so against what I was doing. 100% against.
Wow. And did you say that his thinking is more clear?
Yes. He said that his mind is clear because the kids thought, maybe he was starting to suffer a little bit from dementia or whatever. But he said it is very much cleared up.
Oh, that is remarkable. Remarkable. Well, now, what is a day like for you? A lot of people are like, what do you eat on a normal basis? In the beginning, you're not overweight. You're more on the thin side. So we didn't want you to lose more weight. We were concerned about that. Now, you're so healthy, and there really isn't any concern there at all. We thought, we don't need to lose even 1 pound because, back then we were just trying to put nutrition into your body. But now, do you worry about that at all?
Not at all. In fact, through all of the pandemic, I haven't even shared this with you. I thought I gained a whole lot of weight. I'd gone maybe a month when I had swelling in my tummy. And I weighed myself the other day and I'd only gained 5 pounds. And I thought I'd gone up 20, 30 pounds. So I should have weighed myself waiting for that.
Okay.
But when I get up in the morning, I have all kinds of energy. And so usually I go ahead and eat pretty much as soon as I get up, around 8 or 9 o'clock. And I have a whole bunch of bacon. And then I go for a long walk and I come back and I have a big steak. And then in the middle of the afternoon, I eat another steak. I'm really stuck on steak. I love it. And I just haven't had a desire lately for chicken. I will eat it. But I just don't have a lot of desire for it, or the pork outside of having bacon. So that's what I eat. So usually I eat by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then I wait all the way till 8 or 9 the next day. But I'm not fasting on purpose. That's just the way my body feels.
That's just your hunger.
And I'm not hungry. That is the most wonderful part. Through all this, everybody was eating all kinds of sweets and they were gaining weight. I was just eating my meat and I was not hungry. When I got hungry, I'd go grab a steak.
Wow. Do you drink coffee?
I do have half a cup in the morning, and I add water all morning, and then that's it.
Do you use any kind of cream in it?
I used to, whipping cream.
But you've had to play with a few things even on this
kinds,
this way of eating, because some things you could tolerate. So that's something that people have to do. Some people can add cream. Some people can't handle it at all. Some people can have cheese. Some people can't handle it at all. Yeah. So I know you've had to play with the variations there too.
Yeah, because I did all the dairy, but I found out I was really affected by that. And the heavy whipping cream, I loved it, but my throat would close up. So I thought, I better not do that.
Okay. So that's just beautiful. It's a beautiful story, and to be able to help other people, like the man that you shared your story with, I mean, that's incredible. Who would have thought? So we're doing this interview today because it's a different way of living. We're told to live the other way. I was an advocate for fruits and vegetables and juicing and what we call a clean diet, getting rid of all the processed foods. I was that way for 25 years. And who would have thought this way would have healed even my body? But it's not about me today. It's just knowing that I am another person that thought out of the box, because the definition for insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting the same different results. So we decided to do something different to see if it would work, to see if this research was really true. For me, it's very true. For your other friend,
yes,
very true. So I'm just so thankful for you. You're very studious, by the way. I mean, in the way that where you were so ill that you were willing to do anything to feel like a normal person. And so you did everything strictly. And that's what it takes to heal your body. And I'm so excited for you.
I am too. And I just want to say one more time, thank you, Angie, for reaching out to me. And I just know that when I left your place, it was just like, there's no way to explain it. I felt the presence of the Lord so clear and so precious. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. And it touches my heart every time, that I hear that. And because we do pray for guidance and wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. And to hear you say that, it's a reflection of God's love and His wisdom for His people. So it's way out of the box, but this is what we have found that works. So,
thank you. I just wanted to add in with the amount of energy that I have now. I've always been very active working with children with our program that we work on Fridays. And there were sometimes I was so sick, I would go ahead and go. I didn't enjoy the children. I didn't enjoy the adults at all. I just made it through. I'm one that if you give me a job, I stick with it. And there were a lot of times I had to cancel. But the thing that my heart desires is to work with the women in the jails. We're Gideons and we hand out Bibles. And this is something that I just love. But there were times when I had to carry those Bibles in and they were so heavy and I was so sick. I just really, I couldn't give my whole heart to it. But as I went on this a year and 3 months ago, when I would go into the jail, it was so beautiful. The girls just loved being there talking to me and handing out the materials that we did. And I'm just so grateful. I feel good when I go in and talk to those girls. I can hardly wait till the jails open up again where I can go in and talk to them. So I just wanted to add that in.